Here at EPC, we deal with technology of all kinds, new and used, printers, monitors, laptops, and computers. So today, we're going to tell you about this, the HP Workstation. Let's get into it. So this is the HP Workstation Z2 G5. Bit of a mouthful. This is what I would consider a high-end office PC from 2020. But don't let that 2020 fool you. With its i7 10th gen processor, it's still pretty powerful today with whatever moderate loads you want to hit it with. But let's take a closer look at it. So on this unit, we have an NVMe loaded up with Windows 11, along with a 2 terabyte SATA drive down here for any extra storage you could possibly need. We also have 16 gigs of RAM with plenty of space to expand, if you could afford it, along with a unpopulated PCIe slot right here at the top, in case you wanted to add your own GPU. Personally, how I feel about this PC, I think it's a great starter. I would say if this is just what you want to ride every day, probably about a 3 out of 5. But if you wanted to add your own upgrades, for instance, you can add in more RAM, or perhaps even add in a GPU, I would say this model would be at least a 4 out of 5 where it sits now. So now that we looked at the inside, let's take a closer look at the outside. Over here on the front I/O, we'll start with the CD drive over here, in case you'd ever need it, load any backups. We have 4 USB ports, along with your standard audio jack and power button. Now here on the back, we have another 6 USB ports, your 3 display ports, specifically display ports. This model doesn't have any HDMI out capacity. More audio ports in and out, as well as a 10 gig Ethernet port here, and this model comes with a second network card to allow for a second Ethernet port if you need to do any networking. So as far as the ports is concerned, the I/O, the build quality of this thing, well, it definitely has plenty of USB ports. It doesn't really have any USB-C ports. And while it has display ports, it doesn't have any HDMI ports. So some of these things can be a deal breaker, but I think most of them are workaroundable. And as far as the build quality of the case is concerned, well, it's about as bog standard mid-tower case as you could get. You'd see tens of thousands of these across America in every office building you could find. I'd say overall it's, 3 out of 5. So that's all the first impressions out of the way. But let's throw this thing up on a test bench, take a look at it, and see what it can actually do. So after doing a little bit of testing with this computer, you can see some of the results here. As I was stressing before, the CPU is absolutely the shining crown of this computer, with the CPU reaching into the 90th percentile, which basically just tells you about how it is a fairly good mid-level CPU today, even though it used to be a high-end CPU when it came out at 2020. But if we look at the other results, clearly the graphics test is terrible, but that's because this is integrated graphics. This test would, of course, be checking for the speed and reliability of an actual dedicated GPU, which this model doesn't have, but room to grow. Going down from that, we have the drive test, which, not surprising that they would be so reliable. It is an NVMe. That's what the Windows is loaded onto as well. So it is going to be very snappy and responsive, at least when loading up and doing file transfers. At the end, the memory shows there's a lot to be desired here, but that's because of it doesn't have all the BIOS settings configured. It only has one slot. It's one slot of a DDR4 32. Of course, the memory, you can see it's mediocre, fine for most of what you're going to do. It's a little bit at the back of the pack, but that's because you can see it's not configured properly. It's a 32 megahertz stick, just clocked currently at a little bit lower than it should, or could, I suppose I could say. But that just, again, means there's plenty of room to grow. If we want to explain a little bit more on why this GPU isn't performing that well, we can look at this Blender data and show that, well, it's not terrible in doing any kind of render work. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not going to be anywhere near as fast as something on a dedicated GPU, but it's still going to be competent at least, especially compared to a much older computer. So let's show what this computer can do. Also, I forgot to mention that this thing had speakers in it. That's up to full, by the way. Wouldn't recommend using those. So as you can see, at least from the initial, nothing seems off. We can open this up to show an FPS counter. And you can see that it's running pretty stably. Even with no dedicated graphics, even without too much RAM, the system still runs pretty stable. Although, of course, this is Minecraft we're talking about. It's not like this game is going to be the most intensive, but it's still capable of basic gaming for the most part. But of course, that's just only one of many options that this device could do. So let's make a little bit more of a, let's say, a real-world example. Let's run a CPU stress test here. Just going to stress high activity on the computer for the most part. We'll run this, and then we'll open up, say, a handful of programs, numerous amounts of tabs, run some bunch of videos at once, and we'll compare. So now, as you can probably see, we've really opened up a lot. Well, I guess for some people this would be a lot, for other people this would be a normal Tuesday. But now we can, say, run that same test and see what the results are different. And there you can see, with all of that stress, it still only lowered the score down just a little bit. So in a real world use case, say like a business or an office environment, you would never have to worry about this thing really slowing down on you. For a daily driving use case, for all of this, I would definitely give this score, I don't know, something like a 3 out of 5. There's room to improve, of course, but you start off strong. So after taking a look at all the performance measures, I think my opinion on this is pretty clear. I would say it's 3 out of 5, not just performance, internals, build quality, I/O. It's about as vanilla, straight of the road of a PC as you can get. This thing will do everything you need if what you need isn't the most demanding thing in the world. But I think what's most important here is price. So let's talk about that. Here at EPC today, this model is currently selling for $325. But included in that price, you're getting the aforementioned Windows 11 install already. Includes a keyboard, mouse, any cabling you'll need. The only thing you're missing is going to be the monitor, which we also sell up front. So if you're interested in this model or anything else we have, go ahead and check out the link below, or you can come and visit us at our retail facility in St. Charles, Missouri. Let us know what you think, and if there's anything else you want us to review, we'll see you next time.